Okay, so I know this is super random, but I have a binder of old Pokemon cards from when I was a kid, like the original sets and stuff. And apparently, very, very recently, like this month, October 2020, people have been going nuts for like old Pokemon cards. And apparently, I think it was like Logic or someone bought a Charizard, like a mint condition Charizard, graded and everything, for a lot of money. And I guess part of that just kind of like spurred this craze of, collectible Pokemon cards again. And it's been happening with like sports cards a whole lot in the past like 3 to 6 months. So I thought it would be fun for a stream if I went over my Pokemon card binder and looked through it to see if anything was, potentially worth some money, because all of these cards are from the super old sets when I was, in fourth grade, fifth grade. We had a discussion about it a little while ago, a few days ago. I was like, what the happened with Pokemon? Like, it just blew up. And apparently it was like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, one of those guys. They bought like a booster box from 1998 and they opened it. And I think Logic did too. This is not pack openings. Not pack openings. This is binder opening. Okay? This is binder time. I want to dig through this and I want to see if anything's worth some money. Logic bought a $22,000 Charizard. Gary Vee talked about it on a podcast, which incentivized Logan to do that stream. Interesting, if true. Well, I happen to have a lot of shit from my childhood, and I want to see if anything's worth getting graded. 220,000, not 22K. What the fuck? And so they're all, super old collectible cards. So we did a stream recently where I went over my entire binder. I grabbed anything that looked like it might be worth some money, or might be in good condition. And we literally just went for like 5 hours just looking at old cards, seeing if anything was worth any money, and if we should get it graded at a professional grading service. So like they put it in the plate and they analyze, the condition of the card and how well in the center of the card it is, and a whole bunch of other criteria. So I just thought that would be fun. And, I thought it was going to go pretty well, because most of these cards have been sitting in this binder for at least 17 years, right? Just sitting in the binder. Unfortunately, 10/11-year-old me, messed around with a lot of these cards back in the day. So, and even if I didn't, I remember buying some cards like off of eBay or in card stores where maybe they weren't in the best condition. So I thought it'd be fun to take all the cards that I'm potentially going to send into a grading service to get graded, and give my own grades, what I think is going to happen with them and how much money potentially they could be sold for. But that's the thing about this as well, is that this sort of Pokemon craze that's happening right now, it could just be a bubble, and by the time I get all my cards back, it could have popped, and none of this is actually like worth a whole lot of money anymore. But that's the risk you take. But I just think it would be a fun thing to do, regardless. So yeah, let's take a look at some of my old stuff here. Some stuff from the classic set. I recently learned that some cards that I previously thought were actually fake cards are not actually fake cards. They're a condition called Shadowless, which is like one of the first printings of this card, where, I'll have a better close up. Oh wow, that actually autofocused. So you can see like the 90 HP. It's like pretty, like, not very bolded font, whereas let's get something else. Whereas on this one, it's like bold and stuff. So that condition is actually called Shadowless. I thought they were fake. They're not fake. They're actually worth a bit more money because they're, I guess, from like an original printing. So the cards I'm sending in from the original set are the following. I'm sending in Blastoise, Charizard, Venusaur, Mewtwo, Raichu, Zapdos, and Machamp. All foils from the first set. Machamp right here is still sealed in this little thing. These came with like every starter deck. They're not super hard to find, but I figure if I still have the thing wrapped, it's probably in pretty good condition. It has been sealed in this wrapper since I got it, never took it out, never did anything. So like the centering on the card is pretty good. I'm going to have like individual B-roll of all the cards going over what I'm talking about. But I like it's individually sealed. Now, the grading services are really, really harsh to the point that you could literally get a card out of a fresh pack of cards, put it into a sleeve, put it into like another sleeve on top of that, seal it away, and it could still not get a grade 10 because it all matter. Like the things that matter on the card are like how well positioned it is. Like, is it fully in the center of the card? Is it off to the side? Like, are there any other defects on the card that might have happened during the printing process? So like even something like this, which has been sealed since I got it for 20 years, might not still be a 10 condition. All right, pause real quick. We have this Machamp. It's still in the packaging, right? But they're not going to open this. They're not going to take it out of the packaging. So I have to do it. So I'm about to open a Machamp that's been sealed for 20 years and put it in a sleeve and then put it in a hard case. I should really make sure I have a hard case right here, which I do. If it turns out they will open this, whoops, my bad, yell at me in the comments. But here we go. Opening a 20-year-old card. I'm not wearing gloves. I don't have gloves. I'm just going to literally, right here, it's a brand new zip up. There's a little pinch. Little pinch and push. Okay? Please don't yell at me. Please don't get mad. Ah! Air from 1999. Okay, there we go. I'll do my best not to touch it. As it is birthed. Okay, and we're just gonna, it's gonna go in upside down in the sleeve here, but we're just not even gonna, there we go, and I'm just gonna pinch it like that. Perfect. And then, oh, here's the tech. All right, pinching it, not touching it with my hands, has not been touched yet by human hands. We get another sleeve. Boom, just like that. Okay. Now we have this situation. Just gonna push it in like that. Okay, and then into the top loader we go. Come on, come on. And there we go. Machamp successfully transferred out of the 20-year-old packaging into a sleeve. Didn't touch it with human hands. You love to see it. Back to the video. So what are you going to do? But the Machamp, I'm going to say it's got to be at least an 8. I'm going to give it a 9 just because it's been sealed the whole time. It's not going to have any flaws other than it's like, it's a little curvy. But, you know, that's just, that's what happens. But when they put it in a case, it's going to be fine. The other cards, I'm not so lucky. I originally thought like, oh, they've been in the binder the whole time. Their condition's going to be so good. I barely touched them. I never actually played the card game itself. They're going to be great. They're not super great. Let's look at Blastoise here. You know, the Blastoise is not very well centered. I mean, I guess it's centered, you know, left and right, but top and bottom, it's not really. It's got some nicks along the top. And it's got some, I think it's got some scratches on here. I'm actually looking through the sleeve right now. Now let's just take it out. Yeah, not like super scratched, but the top of the card, you can see like little bits of silver. where like the foil should be. You shouldn't be able to see that. The back top has a bunch of nicks. This card is number 2 of a set, and if you use your normal sleeves in here where you have a 3x3 grid, this was the card in the top middle of the binder like sleeve, so it was just naturally going to get roughed up a lot. I'm going to give Blastoise a 5, 6 if I'm being generous. Charizard. Now, Charizard's pretty much worth money almost no matter what condition it's in. Mine is, okay. The front's pretty okay. Yeah. The back has a couple of nicks along the top. It's not super well centered. I could see this getting a 6, maybe a 7 if I'm being generous. I don't know literally anything about grading cards. I could be seeing these things and you guys are maybe looking them on the close-up and being like, what the hell? This is a 4 at best. I don't know. I don't know how harshly they're going to grade them, but 6 if I'm being realistic, 7 if I'm being optimistic, 5 if I'm being pessimistic. So we'll say there's a range here. Venusaur is not Shadowless. It's not first edition. Oh yeah, the Charizard's not first edition either. It's just a normal Charizard. Venusaur is mostly good condition. Maybe a little bit along the edges on the front. You could see some little silver dots. But I didn't really play with Venusaur as a kid. I didn't really play with any of them as a kid, so I don't understand how they're not like great condition. There's a little bit like some nicks along the top. Nothing too brutal. I do think it's in better condition than the Charizard, so I will say 7, optimistic 8. I don't think it'll be a 6 though. I think we're gonna be okay on that one. Mewtwo. Was anyone else like super disappointed at how bad Mewtwo was as a card, knowing its lore in the game? Because this, like, Mewtwo was supposed to be this omega powerful Pokemon, and in the card game, this first card, it sucks. It's not good at all. So that was kind of disappointing, which means I really didn't play with it. So the card condition is pretty good. Yeah, like, I know I'm touching it with bare hands. If my gross 10-year-old hands didn't already infect this card, nothing will. And I wash my hands, so yeah, nothing like too brutal. Maybe a little along the left edge over here on the back, but again, I'll give it a 7, 8 optimistically, 6 if I'm being a pessimist. We'll see. The Zapdos, Shadowless, not the greatest condition. You can literally see a whole bunch of silver along the top. I'm not seeing any crazy scratches on the foil, although I don't really know what to look for. And then on the back, yikes. It is really dinged up along the back. Almost the entire top part of the card is white, even the sides as well. This is going to be probably a 4 if I'm being optimistic. I think we'll call it a 5 if I'm being optimistic. Otherwise, I think that's more on the side of like 3.5 to 3. So we'll see how well that does. Raichu is also a bit dinged up along the edges. Not greatly centered. I might just not even bring this one in. I think the only reason I was going to do that is because Pikachu has a good amount of hype. I might... I don't know. I got to check the price on this, but it's not great. I give it a 6, 5 if I'm being pessimistic, 4 if I'm being really pessimistic, and it might end up being a 4. I do also have some commons. I have a Squirtle, which is a first edition Shadowless, which I have been told is just called first edition because apparently all first editions are Shadowless. But I don't know if that's true or not, so feel free to correct me. But even these common cards, these common starters, first edition, are going for like some dummy money. However, this Squirtle is probably one of the worst condition cards that I have. It is terribly beat up. It's still in one piece, obviously, but it's got a lot of nicks. Some of the yellow on the border tore off on the side. There's like little bits of like dirt that I've tried to scrape off that are just not coming off. This is a 2 at best. No, this is a 3 at best. 2 if I'm being normal. The only time I think something gets a 1 is if it has like literally a fold or a crease in it. This does not have that, so I think this meets the bare minimum threshold for being something that could be gradable. Then I have 2 basic Charmanders. There's literally nothing special about them other than the fact that they're Charmander, but the condition of them is like pretty good. So I might send in one of them. They're both pretty well centered, so we'll send in one of them. I don't know. I guess this one kind of has like a little fold in it. I don't know. Well, I'll pick one of them, but either way, I think they're both pretty good condition. I could see them getting 7s, maybe even 8s, if the condition is good enough. So that's from the original set. And then, of course, we talked about the Machamp. Then we have the next set, which is Jungle. And from here, I have a bunch more first editions. A lot of foils. So let's just go down the list here. Clefable. Clefable is in okay condition. Some nicks along the side. On the back, we do have a bunch of scrapes along the top. I'm going to say this is maybe a 5.5 to a 6. Yeah, nothing special about that. What's next in the list here? Probably Kangaskhan. Yeah, Kangaskhan. The Clefable was first edition, though. I think that's part of the reason why I'm sitting it in. It's first edition. Kangaskhan, also first edition. I know for a fact I literally never played with this card, but I can still see a lot of, like, silver around the edges. It's not really, like, banged up or anything, though. Let me take a look at the back. Maybe, like, a tiny little nick along the top. Nah, there's a few more along the top. Oh, and at the bottom. Ugh, okay. Maybe a 6. Maybe a 6 on this. It is first edition, though. And I'm also kind of banking on the fact that the bubble doesn't burst and things actually go up in value in the future. So stuff like right now might not have a lot of value at these, 6, 7, 8 levels. But if we go further into the future and things don't pop, the bubble doesn't pop, then, we have a chance at something being worth some money here. The Charizard, at the very least, will probably pay for the grading for all these, and if that's what happens and I don't make any money on this, no big deal. I missed Flareon. Apparently, people are very crazy about the Eevee evolutions and all that. This is pretty good condition. I don't remember using Flareon at all. There's a little schmutz at the top here that I'm going to try to scrape away and probably fail at doing. Yeah, I got it. Back is nicked along the top and the bottom a lot, and that was one of my big disappointment digging through all these cards, was just how nicked up and dinged up they actually were compared to what I thought the condition was going to be of them. Because you look through the binder, it's like, oh, these all look great. These are great. What's going on? And then you actually take a look at them, and it's like, oh, this is maybe a 5 Flareon. Give it a 6 optimistically. Next, Mr. Mime. It's got to be good condition, right? Who used Mr. Mime? And, there's some scratches on the foil. Look at the back. The back's not too bad. A little bit of a nick on the top right. A little bit of a ding on the bottom right. I could see this getting a 6. Maybe a 7 optimistically. Snorlax, also probably going to be about the same. The centering's not terrible, but it's definitely not great. I never use Snorlax. This is actually pretty good condition, though. Nothing egregious on here. Yeah, nothing too bad. So, I don't know, 7 maybe. Let's look at the foil. Yeah, it's not too bad. One tiny scratch, but yeah, I'd give that a 7. Let's say 7. Venomoth. I don't know who the hell actually cares about Venomoth. I'm only sending it because it's first edition. Pretty well centered for the most part, and pretty good condition. Small little ding at the top. But, I could see this getting a 7, but it's probably going to be about a 6. And that's the thing, too, is like, You'll look at some of these cards on eBay and be like, man, that thing got a 6 and it looks flawless. It looks like there's no problems with it at all. And I get that part of it's like you're taking the pictures. You're taking the pictures and whatnot, and they might be looking, a little more generous when it comes to, the condition of the card. But even something that was a 1, we saw something that was a 1 that looked great. And it took a lot of digging to find exactly where the card was actually creased. So I don't know. Maybe my cards are in better condition than I think they are. Here's Wigglytuff. We definitely have a scratch on the foil. Again, this is first edition. Centering is it's better than some of the other crap I have. I'll tell you that much. And then on the back, it looks pretty good. Nothing too egregious on the back of the card. So I'll call that a 7. Why not? Right? Call that a 7. I have 2 comments here. I have an Eevee and I have a Pikachu. People are going nuts for the Eevee as well. Eevee is first edition and pretty well centered, so that's why I'm sending it in. A tiny little ding at the top, but otherwise pretty good. Call it an 8. Yeah, I'll call it 8. I don't think I have many things that are above an 8, unfortunately, but maybe I'm not being nice enough. And we have Pikachu, obviously, Pikachu being Pikachu. I'll call this an 8 as well. Yeah, a little maybe like misprint kind of deal at the bottom left, but otherwise Pikachu, that's looking not too bad. Not too bad. All right, next set. We got the Fossil set. Got a bunch of first editions here as well. Let's organize them out a little bit. Aerodactyl. How we looking? I don't think Aerodactyl, all these are first edition as well, by the way. First edition foils, except for Dragonite, which we'll talk about in a sec. Aerodactyl. Pretty good condition. I don't really remember playing with, I know I keep saying this, but I never played with Aerodactyl. I can tell you that for a fact. I think the only deck that I ever tried to do was like a fire deck, which is why probably so many of my fire cards are all kind of dinged up and whatever. But Aerodactyl's centering, unfortunately, on the back is literal garbage. But the condition of the card itself is pretty good. I'll give it 7, 6 if I'm being pessimistic. Articuno. The centering left to right is pretty good. The centering top to bottom is not good, and the condition of the foil is scratched. There's a big old scratch that goes right between the A and the R in the name of Articuno. The condition of the card otherwise is pretty good. Not really dinged up anywhere except for the bottom right. There's a little bit of a dinger. Bottom left, I guess, also has a little bit of a dinger. I'll call this a 6. Maybe a 5 if I'm being pessimistic. God, is that really a 6? There's no way it's a 6. It's got to be a little bit more, right? Like, it's got to be. Ditto. Ditto's cool. I like Ditto. I think I can see a little scratch in the middle, but centering on the front's not bad. It's a little bottom skewed towards the bottom. On the back, though, the centering is terrible. But nothing stands out as being horribly poor condition. We actually thought that Ditto, for a while until we got to later cards, was my best condition card, and we thought optimistically it's an 8, which is why I'm kind of judging things the way that I'm judging them. Is because I had a couple of people in the chat who are a little more knowledgeable than I am, looking at these cards, being like, that's like a 6, that's like a 7. And that's part of why I got so depressed with doing this, is that I thought my things were so much better, but they're not. Dragonite, there is a bit of a scratch going across the foil. This is not first edition, but it's Dragonite, and people like Dragonite, so that's why I'm getting it graded. The back is pretty good. Nothing super noticeable. So that is, I'll call it a 7. I'll call this one a 7. 6 if I'm being pessimistic. Let's be real. Most of these should probably be judged on their pessimism score. Kabutops. First edition. Pretty good. Actually, never mind. This is probably one of the more worst condition cards that I have in this set. The back's not bad, but it's not well centered. The front, again, I don't really know if a bunch of these little silver bits and scrapes and stuff are just like supposed to be there. They're probably not. And it looks like there's a little bit of like some of the card missing on the top right. I don't know if I'll be able to get it in the camera, but yeah, this is not good. I'd call this a 4 to 5. I might not even. I might leave them out. I might take them out because that's looking rough. Lapras, I feel like is underrated as a whole as a Pokemon. I feel like Lapras is super underrated. Unfortunately, I have a couple of scratches on the foil, so I'm going to get dinged for that. But otherwise, very good condition. Centering on the backs, not very good. Centering on the front, actually pretty darn strong. I'll call this a 7 because of the scratches, but it is first edition. You'll have to see that. Moltres, centering on the front, it's real bad. It's real bad. No significant scratches, though, that I can see. That's good. Condition on the front, pretty good. Not seeing a lot of that silver along the borders. And on the back, looks like we have a tiny ding on the corner. Ooh, and the left side's a little scratched up, and that's just the light. Centering on the back is a lot better than it is on the front, though. I'll give this... We'll go 6. Muk, I don't know how many people care about Muk. I don't think many people care about Muk. But he is first edition, he is a foil, and it's pretty good condition. So that's why we're sending it in. Centering on the front is okay. Centering on the back is better than the front. There's a small ding on the bottom right of the card, but otherwise, we're looking pretty good. I'll call that a 7. Let's go to the next set, Team Rocket. This is where my childhood streams. Kill me. This is where my childhood dreams started to die when it came to Pokemon cards, because I realized that, 11, 12, 13-year-old me was not going to be able to keep up with how fast Wizards of the Coast at the time were cranking out these cards. I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know that they were coming out with these sets rapid fire. The first few sets didn't come out rapid fire, and then they really started to launch, and I was like, oh no, I can't keep up because I don't have a job because I'm 12. So this is where things really started to slow down for me. I have the first 3 sets full, but everything past that, not looking good. But we got some good stuff in this section right here. Starting with Dark Blastoise. We're just sending this guy in because it's Blastoise, right? The original Pokemon, the original evolutions, all that kind of stuff. People like them. And these sets in particular are going to be even less touched and less played than the sets that came before it. Dark Blastoise, the centering on the front's pretty darn good. Unfortunately, the back leaves a bit to be desired. There's some scrapage along the bottom. I'll call this an optimistic 7. It's probably going to be a 6. Hopefully I'm wrong. We have Dark Charizard, same kind of deal. It's Charizard. Anything Charizard goes for it. People like it, right? And probably goes for a few bucks. Centering on the front's a little skewed to the right. On the back, though, this thing is beat up. It is beat up along the top. It is beat up a little bit on the corners on the bottom. I would be shocked if this got anything more than a 5. I'll be real with you. If this thing gets a 5 or higher, I'll be very, very surprised. Both of those non-first edition, by the way. Next up, probably one of the best cards that I have besides the original Charizard is Dark Dragonite First edition. Pretty good condition. It does have a couple of light scratches on the foil, but otherwise centering on the front's pretty good. It's a little skewed towards the bottom. And on the back, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll call it a 7. Optimistic 8. I think this Dark Dragonite's one of the better ones that I got in this collection. Dark Gyarados also people seem to have some excitement about, but main reason it is in this group is because it's first edition. It looks like we have a bit of a scratch on the right side of the foil, but otherwise the front of the card looks pretty good. Centering is pretty good, maybe skewed a little bit more towards the top. And then on the back, it looks like we have a couple of small dings along the top. Nothing too egregious. I'll call this one a 7 as well. I'm sorry that so many of these are 7, but I just don't feel comfortable giving. You know what? No, I can't. If anything, the Dragonite is potentially an 8 because I think the Dragonite's better than the Gyarados. Next, Dark Magneton. I don't think there's a lot of hype around Magneton. I think Magneton's kind of cool, but I don't think there's a lot of hype around him. The centering of this card is skewed more towards the upper right, which kind of sucks, but otherwise, condition on the front's pretty good. All right, there's some scratches on the foil. God, man. Things just I don't even notice. Yeah, either those are part of the design or there's a lot of scratches on it. That's probably where we're going to lose some points. Back of the card is really strong, actually. There's a small little ding on the bottom left. But if we're not counting scratches, this thing's an 8. But we probably are, so it's probably going to end up a 6. Wheezing. Don't know how many people really care about Wheezing, but it was in really good condition. Fortunately, most of the card is taken up by art, so there's not as much room to get scratches on the foil, 13-year-old me. So good job there. Centering, maybe skewed a little bit towards the left, but otherwise pretty good, and nothing egregious on the front. On the back, centering, pretty good. Dark Wheezing might be one of my best cards when it comes to condition and centering. I will call that one an 8. I am going to give myself an 8. Optimistic, we're talking a 9. I don't think I have any perfect 10 cards in here, especially since my hands have been on them, and especially since, like I said earlier, you literally can pull a card from a pack, put it into a sleeve, send it to a grading service, and they will not give it a 10 for whatever reason. Dark Vileplume, first edition. I might leave this one out. I'm going to do a little bit more research to see if anything is cool with Dark Vileplume. Centering is a little skewed to the left. Nothing bad on the front. Nothing really that bad on the back. I think it's just a pretty good condition card, although there is a small ding on the bottom right and a even smaller one on the bottom left. I'll call it a 7. If Dark Weezing's an 8 to a 9, I can't give Vileplume higher than that, but it's not bad. Finally, I have a Rainbow Energy first edition. I was very surprised that the Rainbow Energy was not going to bring some hype, some heat. I think the Rainbow Energy card is super cool. Mine's in pretty good condition. No scratches that I can really see on the foil. Centering of the card is a little skewed towards the bottom, but otherwise this card's in really, really good condition. Centering on the back, it was terrible. That's probably about a 7. Last 4 cards that I have are from, I don't even know what sets they're from. I think Blaine's Charizard and Blaine's Arcanine is, I mean, obviously it's like some gym leader stuff, but I couldn't tell you the name of the actual set. None of these are first edition except for one of them. Arcanine is probably one of my favorite Pokemon. I think Arcanine is just super dope. We have Blaine's Arcanine here. I figure first card in the set, foil, might be worth something, not first edition. Centering on it is absolute garbage, but otherwise the condition of the card is pretty good. We do have a couple of scratches on the foil on the right side, so you hate to see that. But otherwise, the back of the card is pretty good. I can't tell if that's the sleeve or if that's the card. It's the card. You hate to see it. It has a tiny, tiny little bend in it. Because of that bend, They might dock me insane points and just give it a 1 because of that bend. If they don't do that, I can see them docking a lot of points and calling it a 6 or a 7 just because of that little ding. If they don't do that, I'd say that's a 7 to an 8. Blaine's Charizard. It's Charizard. Enough said. No major scratches that I can really tell of on the foil. Centering is terrible. Well, it's not terrible, but it's not great. It's skewed towards the right side. Never remembered really touching this Charizard too much. Centering on the back is okay, but nothing great. But I do think the condition of the card itself is very good. I will give it an 8. Why the hell not? A card that I did not realize was called Feraligatr, one that I was calling Feraligator. Excuse me. This is not first condition, but apparently this card has a little bit of hype on it, so we're going to tag and bag it. Centering almost feels like it's tilted, like it's rotated, but it's not awful. And on the back, like centering is okay. Looks like it's skewed more towards the right. Small little dinger on the bottom right. I'll call it a 7 to an 8. 9 optimistic. Finally, we have Blossom. The only reason I'm including this one is because it's first edition. Centering is skewed to the right. And there's like, I don't know if that's just part of the card or if that's like an actual smudge on the card. I can't tell, but it's in the top right and I kind of hate it. Foil itself, it's not bad. Front of the card, not really seeing any of that silver effect. I'm not sure if that's just my card quality getting better or if Wizards was doing something different. Back of the card, looks like a small little ding at the top. Again, I'm just looking at these through the sleeve. Not bad otherwise. I'll call it an 8 as well. I think these cards are good condition. All right. So what about stuff that I pulled out but maybe we're not taking? Well, we have the following. We have Victory Bell First Edition. I don't know who cares about Victory Bell. Victory Bell is not a very hype Pokemon. Probably not going to send it in. Vileplume First Edition. Centering's not bad, but the rest of the card itself is not very great. Not a lot of hype on Vileplume. Chansey, you would think, have some good amount of hype to it, but mine is pretty scratched. And if we look at the back, it is really roughed up along the back. I just chose not to. Shadowless Clefairy. It's one of my few Shadowless foils. But the condition of this card is, well, if I do a close-up of it, you'll see why I'm probably not sending it in. Ninetales, someone in my chat was like, dude, Ninetales is where it's at. And I have a Shadowless version of it. So I was like, okay, let's take a look at it. And, the front's like not the greatest, but it's not absolute terrible. But then we flip it over and, well, you'll see yet again why that's not going in. Charmeleon, Shadowless. Looks good from the front. Looks pretty good from the front. We turn it over, and it is, it's brutal. Pikachu Shadowless. It's probably going to be the same thing. A lot of my Shadowless cards were just not in very good condition whatsoever, and Pikachu is not an exception. Although it is a bit better than some of the other ones, probably not going to get him graded. Caterpie, Shadowless, not first edition. I didn't think anyone really cared about Caterpie. Someone told me to pull it out. Card's pretty good condition. I'm not going to send in a Caterpie. And then we have some Zapdos, Zapdie, multiple Zapdos. This one's from Fossil. Card condition's pretty good. Centering is not, but like, yeah, oh, the centering's like really bad. Like, it's okay, but it's just, it doesn't have anything remarkable about it. It's not first edition. It's not like perfect quality, so I'm probably not going to send it in. And Rockets Zapdos. Yeah, centering left to right it's okay, but top to bottom is not really. The back is fine, but it's nothing remarkable. I just don't think it's worth sending in. Anything else not mentioned, I either don't have it first edition, its quality is not nearly good enough to receive a good enough grade that would be worth any money, or I just don't feel like parting ways with it. I do have a couple of Japanese cards as well. I have a Japanese Dark Dragonite, which is in pretty good condition, and a Japanese Ditto. Both of the the Ditto is from Fossil, the Dark Dragonite's from Team Rocket. Both foil, both pretty good, but I haven't seen a lot of hype on Japanese cards, which kind of sucks because I thought there would be. And looking through the rest of the binder here, I have the first 3 sets complete. So like I have every single card, but I just didn't think it would be worth really the money or the time to get literally every single thing graded. This video is probably going to go up before I send in the cards. So if there's any Pokemon card experts out there that are like, no, you should totally do it, like feel free to let me know, because I'm not knowledgeable in the market as far as it goes. We're just kind of flipping through on the things here. We got our what was that, jungle set. I have a bunch of first edition non-foils, but I don't think anyone really cares about non-foils. Then we have our fossil set. I took out anything that's a foil first edition. And then it really starts to deteriorate. I have a Japanese Mew as well. I don't think Mew's going for a whole lot. And then, of course, you got to have the one from the movie. Still in the plastic, although I did think... I think I opened it because I think there's a giant piece of tape on it. Yeah, I opened it for sure. But those are also not really going for a ton of money. Then we have some dark Pokemon stuff from Team Rocket. I actually had 2 foil Gyarados, but only one of them was first edition, so... yeah, I mean, like, most of the things are pretty good condition. A lot of these cards here, I can tell, are just horrible fakes. And even, like, 12-year-old me at the time was like, yeah, those are probably fakes, but I'm going to pretend they're real so I feel good about myself. Yeah, nothing really remarkable. In these later pages, we have some stuff, some foils from, you know, the gym trainer sets, whatever the hell those were called. Rhydon, Brock's Rhydon, Fearow, Magneton. I have Lieutenant Surge and Misty, but they are not first edition. I also have Dark Raichu, which confused the hell out of me when it first came out because it's card 83 out of 82. I thought it might be worth something. I don't think it is. Feel free to correct me. And then a bunch more commons. Probably not really worth too much unless they're first edition, but I don't think I have any first edition. So what are you going to do? More of the, I guess, gym trainer sets, whatever the hell they're called. I have an Erica's Venusaur in here, foil. I don't know. Maybe that's worth something. Everything else, probably not. Taking through all this. A lot of commons. I have a Metal Energy foil. Is that cool? Someone tell me about that. No idea if that's cool. I have a Kingdra. Starting to lose my voice. I think this set's called Neo Genesis, and the only reason I know that is because we had to look it up. Metal Energy Neo Genesis, non-first edition. Let me know. Azumarill foil, Kingdra foil, Jumpluff foil. Let me know. Everything else is just... Cyndaquil first edition, is that cool? I'm just talking to myself at this point. There's some first edition things in here as well. I'd probably have to do some individual research. Wooper? Doesn't Wooper just make you feel like everything's going to be okay? Wooper. He just makes me feel like, you know what? We are going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. I have a Magnemite from some set that looks like a dumbbell. 2001 maybe, and then this is just a bunch of like random stuff that I don't even know why I got it. Houndoom non-foil first edition. Wooper. All right, that's it. Like, look at Wooper. Look at Wooper and just tell me you don't instantly get happy. All right, that's it. I thought that'd be fun. We'll send in these cards at some point to the grading service. I think I'm just going to do PSA. But apparently their wait times are literal months, and they are really jacking up their prices because everyone wants to get their stuff graded. So that's kind of unfortunate. But if I do ever send in these cards and I do ever get them back, we will do a follow-up, absolutely, and see what my grades were compared to what cards or what grades they gave me. And we'll see if anything is actually worth some money on eBay or something like that. All right. Wow, that was a long video. I'm so sorry. I hope you didn't have anything else to do today. All right, bye.